Listen to me closely, Virgo. I'm Anna from Virgo, and what I'm about to tell you is not for the faint of heart. I was not going to record this reading. I sat here for almost an hour staring at my cards, feeling the energy building, and I almost walked away. Because what came through was so intense, so direct, so undeniably specific that I needed to be sure I wasn't projecting. I needed to be sure this wasn't my own energy bleeding into the message. It wasn't. What came through was a story, a complete, detailed, unmistakable story about a woman who has been in your life, a woman who smiled at your face while working against you behind your back, a woman who plotted, who schemed, who positioned herself to take something from you, your reputation, your opportunity, your peace, your place. And the message I received is this: she just walked into the biggest trouble of her life. Now, before I go any further, I need you to understand something. This reading is not about revenge. It's not about gloating. It's not about taking pleasure in someone else's downfall. That's not who you are, and that's not the energy of this message. What this reading is about is justice, balance, the natural, inevitable, unshakable force of consequence. What you put out into the world comes back to you. And what this woman put out into the world is now returning to her with a force she never anticipated. I want to tell you what I see when I look at her. I see a woman who thought she was untouchable, a woman who believed she was clever enough to outsmart everyone around her, a woman who used manipulation as her primary tool, who saw other people as obstacles to be removed or pawns to be moved. She has been doing this for a long time, and she has gotten away with it for so long that she stopped believing there would ever be consequences. She was wrong. The trouble she has walked into is not small. It's not temporary. It's not something she can talk her way out of or manipulate her way around. It is structural, systemic, inescapable. The walls she built to protect herself have become the very walls that are now closing in on her. Let me peel back the layers of what I see happening in her life right now. The first layer is about her reputation. She has spent years cultivating an image, a carefully constructed persona of trustworthiness, competence, and goodwill. She has made sure that people see her as someone who is helpful, generous, above reproach. But behind that mask, she has been operating very differently. She has been taking credit for other people's work. She has been spreading rumors to undermine her competition. She has been making promises she never intended to keep. She has been playing a long game of manipulation that she thought no one would ever see through. But people are seeing through it now. The mask is slipping. The carefully constructed image is crumbling. And the people who once trusted her are beginning to piece together the truth. I see a specific conversation happening, a conversation where someone says something that reveals a piece of the puzzle, a conversation that makes others stop and think, wait, that doesn't match what she told us. A conversation that creates a crack in the facade, and once that crack appears, it will spread. It will grow, it will become impossible to ignore. The second layer is about her finances. There is a financial unraveling happening in her world. A deal that was supposed to close but didn't. An investment that was supposed to pay off but collapsed. A source of income that she relied on that is now gone. She has been living beyond her means, spending money she didn't actually have, assuming that her schemes would continue to generate the income she needed. They are not continuing. I see her facing a financial crisis that she cannot talk her way out of. I see her scrambling to find solutions that aren't there. I see her watching her carefully constructed empire begin to crumble piece by piece, and for the first time in her life, she doesn't know what to do. She has always been able to scheme her way out of trouble, but this trouble is different. This trouble is the result of years of choices that are finally catching up with her. The third layer is about her relationships. She has used people, she has manipulated them, discarded them, and moved on to the next. And now the people she used are beginning to compare notes. They're beginning to talk to each other. They're beginning to realize that they were not the only ones she played. And when that realization spreads, she will find herself alone. Not just temporarily alone, deeply, fundamentally alone. The kind of alone that comes when people realize you cannot be trusted. The kind of alone that comes when people have seen behind the mask and they don't want to be anywhere near you. I see a specific person in her life walking away. Someone who has been loyal to her, protective of her, blind to her faults. That person is finally seeing the truth and they are leaving. Not dramatically, not with a confrontation, but quietly, firmly, permanently. And that departure will be a blow that she feels more deeply than she expected. The fourth layer of this message is about her health. There is something happening in her body. I don't want to be specific about this because it's not my place to diagnose or predict medical outcomes. But the energy I'm picking up is that the stress of her situation is manifesting physically, the sleepless nights, the anxiety, the inability to relax, the constant vigilance. Her body is paying the price for the life she has been living. And the irony is, she has always believed that her body was her greatest asset. She has used it, leveraged it, relied on it. And now her body is turning on her. Not as a punishment the universe doesn't punish, but as a natural consequence of living in a state of constant tension, constant scheming, constant fear of being found out. Now, I want to talk about what this means for you, because the woman who plotted against you is not the main character of this story. You are. And the trouble she has walked into is not just about her, it's about the clearing that is happening in your life. The removal of the obstacle, the neutralization of the threat, the liberation that comes when someone who has been working against you is no longer able to do so. You have been carrying the weight of her actions. You have been wondering why things weren't moving forward. You have been questioning yourself, doubting your own perceptions, wondering if you were being paranoid or unfair. You have been trying to figure out what you did wrong, what you could have done differently. The message I received is clear. It was never about you. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't attract her actions through some failing of your own. You didn't deserve what she did. You were simply, in her way, a person with something she wanted. A person whose light made her feel small. A person whose existence was a threat to her carefully constructed narrative of superiority. And now the narrative is collapsing, not because of anything you did, but because the truth always comes out. The universe always balances the scales. And the energy she put out into the world is finally, inevitably coming back to her. I know you have been hurt. I know you have been angry. I know you have wanted to confront her, to expose her, to make her pay for what she did. And I'm telling you, you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to plot your own revenge. You don't have to lower yourself to her level. What you have to do is step back and watch. Watch as the consequences unfold. Watch as the mask crumbles. Watch as the people she manipulated finally see the truth. Watch as the structure she built collapses around her. Watch as she faces the music she has been avoiding for so long. This is not about Schadenfreude. It's about trust. Trust in the natural order of things. Trust that you don't have to fight every battle. Trust that sometimes the universe fights for you. I also want to address what you might be feeling right now because I sense there's something coming up for you. Part of you might be feeling guilty. Part of you might be feeling compassion for her, even after everything she did. Part of you might be wondering if you're being too harsh, if you should intervene, if you should reach out and offer support. Don't do that. This is not your mess to clean up. This is not your responsibility. She made her choices, and she is now living with the consequences. You are not the person who caused her trouble. You are not the person who is responsible for her suffering. You are the person who was wronged, and you have every right to let the justice play out without stepping in to save her from it. I see you doing something that I want to acknowledge. You have been healing. You have been processing. You have been working on yourself, trying to let go of the anger and the resentment. And you have made progress. You have grown. You have become stronger, wiser, more grounded. That is what I want to honor in this reading. Not just the trouble she is walking into, but the peace you are walking into, the freedom that is coming, the release that is already beginning to happen in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. There is a weight that you've been carrying, a weight of what she did, of the injustice, of the betrayal, and that weight is about to be lifted, not because you've forgotten what happened, not because you've forgiven her, though that may come in time, but because the energy of the situation is shifting. The imbalance is being corrected, and you are being released from the burden of holding it all together. Let me talk about what happens next for you. With this woman neutralized, with her attention consumed by her own troubles, you are going to experience a clearing. A space that was occupied by her scheming, her manipulation, her efforts to undermine you is now empty. And that space is going to be filled with something new. Opportunities that were blocked are going to open. Relationships that were strained are going to heal. Forward momentum that was stalled is going to resume. Doors that were closed are going to swing open. And you are going to feel it. You are going to feel the shift, the release, the freedom. I want to give you a specific sign to watch for. In the coming days or weeks, you will receive a piece of information, something that confirms what you've always suspected, something that validates your experience, something that shows you beyond any doubt that you were right about her, that you weren't being paranoid, that your instincts were accurate. When that information arrives, you will feel a wave of relief, a wave of validation, a wave of release. And you will know in that moment that the universe has been working on your behalf all along. There is another layer to this message that I want to uncover because it came through with unmistakable intensity. This woman has a shadow, a secret, something she has been hiding from everyone, something so dark, so damaging that if it came to light, it would destroy everything she's built. The message I received is that this secret is now at risk of being exposed, not because anyone is actively exposing it, but because her own actions, her own desperation, her own panic are leading her to make mistakes. She is going to slip up. She is going to say something she shouldn't have said. She is going to trust someone she shouldn't have trusted. She is going to leave evidence where it shouldn't have been left. And the secret is going to come out. When it does, the trouble she is already in will multiply. The people who have been giving her the benefit of the doubt will no longer be able to do so. The institutions that have been protecting her will distance themselves, and she will find herself in a position she never thought possible, utterly, completely alone. I want to be clear about something. This is not because the universe is punishing her. This is because she has been living a lie, and lies cannot sustain themselves forever. They eventually crumble. They eventually expose themselves. And when they do, the person who built them is left standing in the rubble. You are not standing in the rubble. You are standing in the light, the clearing, the fresh start, the new beginning. And as you look back at everything that happened, everything she did, everything you endured, you are going to see it differently. You are going to see it as part of your journey, not the end of it, not a detour from it, but a part of it, a part that made you stronger, a part that made you wiser, a part that taught you to trust yourself, to trust your instincts, to trust that the universe is always working in your favor. This reading began with the image of a woman walking into trouble. It ends with the image of you walking into freedom. The trouble she is experiencing is not something you need to watch with vindictive pleasure, but it is something you can watch with peace. Peace that justice exists. Peace that the universe sees everything. Peace that you don't have to fight every battle because some battles are already won. There is a word that keeps coming through, and I want to share it with you. Completion. This chapter of your life is completing. The chapter that involved her, her scheming, her manipulation, her efforts to undermine you, it is over. The story is finished. The book is closing. And a new book is about to open. A book in which she does not appear. A book in which you are the main character, the hero, the one who overcame and thrived. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine that. Imagine a life where her energy is no longer present, where you don't have to watch your back, where you don't have to wonder what she's saying about you, where you don't have to protect yourself from her actions. That life is here, it is now, it is waiting for you to step into it. As we bring this reading to a close, I want to leave you with this. You have been carrying the weight of what she did for long enough. It has occupied space in your mind, your heart, your life. And now it is time to put that weight down. Not because you're pretending it didn't happen, but because the story has moved on. The balance has been restored. The trouble she plotted for you has turned around and found her. And you are free. Free to move forward without looking over your shoulder. Free to trust that the universe has your back. Free to focus on the life that is waiting for you, the abundance that is flowing toward you, the peace that is already settling into your bones. She walked into trouble, but you are walking into freedom, and that is where the magic begins.